Hey you guys, this is kind of a rant. I'm not doing my usual setup with my tripod right now. I'm just kind of speaking off the top of my head because this is actually I was inspired to make this video with when Jimmy Williams, I think is his last name. I should remember. Williams is my last name, so if anybody else has Williams, I should remember. But you see, that's my married name, so yeah. Yeah, Jimmy Williams on Facebook. He added me a few months ago. And the reason I know of him so much is because he had a product that he was trying to sell or like a service he was trying to offer, something like that. And in the Facebook groups, you just kind of post or whatever. And no one usually minds, but sometimes it's in the rules of some groups that you can't post any services or anything like that. So he messaged me and asked if he could call me, and I was like, sure. So we had a discussion. I let him know it was fine. I really don't care if people post in the. I want as much engagement as possible. I don't care if it's selling something or asking a question. I want as many people to feel free in that group as possible. So let him know it was cool. He really appreciated it. Let me know that he had. It's a useful thing. From what I understand from it, it is pretty useful. It helps you find deals all across the country. So especially if you're into virtual real estate investing or you want to have multiple properties across the country versus just your hometown, I think it's a pretty good tool. I haven't used it personally myself, but the pitch of it sounds really good. So that was, I didn't mind. But for whatever reason, in another group, somebody just started calling him a scam artist. And the thing about it is, usually when someone's a scam artist, it's like people usually have a bunch of proof and they're sending screenshots or people telling stories about their situation. I was reading the comments and it was just a bunch of people talking about him. And it didn't make any sense because the things that they were saying was his Facebook name is Apostle Jimmy Williams, and they're like, oh yeah, anybody with apostle in their name, you know that they're scam artists. And I'm like, my pastor has the title pastor in his name. My first lady has the title first lady in her name. My bishop has the word bishop in his Facebook name. So what are you guys even talking about? They would also say things like, yeah, the guy looks sketchy. And I'm like, what does that even mean? He doesn't look sketchy. I'm not going to insert a picture just out of respect. I didn't get his permission to use his picture or anything, but he's part of my group. If you're part of Bird Dog Real Estate, you've seen him posting and stuff. So if you want to know who it is, you can just look up his name in the group. And this isn't bashing him or anything, because once I saw what was going on, I think I took a screenshot and sent it to him, or I just brought it to his attention. I messaged him and I was like, hey, these people are saying these things in this group about you. I didn't, ouch. Lucy, my cat is clawing me right now. Why are you doing this? If you want to cuddle, cuddle. You don't scratch me. Okay, now she's cuddling. Okay. I messaged him and I was like, hey, these people are saying these things about you. I'm not about getting into drama if I don't know exactly what's going on. Because I will straight up tell you, there was a situation in Memphis. If you guys know, I'm not going to mention any names, but when all that beef was going down with that guy, I knew the people who were affected by it. And I'm like, yeah, that guy's not... I knew a good 5 people who were affected by it. And some people had screenshots. Other guys, they didn't have any screenshots. But, when you try to work with word of mouth with people, it just doesn't work out sometimes. So that's unfortunate. But anyway, going back to Jimmy. There was no screenshots. There were no testimonials of people feeling scammed. I don't know exactly what started the situation, but it just kind of came out of nowhere. So I let him know. He was like, thank you for letting me know. I'm sorry for, how this may make me look. And I'm like, I'm letting you know, because if anything was happening to me, I want somebody to tell me so I can at least be aware of the situation, because I'm not out here trying to scam people. And that was another story I'm going to get to in a second. I'm not out here trying to scam people. I'm just trying to have a legit real estate investing business, my social media businesses as well. I'm not out here trying to take from people and not give back what I feel like is worth what they're paying me. And so yeah, it's just, and so that what he did was he made a video basically thanking me and a few other people who either put him up on game on what was going on in that situation, or you know, they were just there to comfort him and be like, you know, it's okay, or they were commenting back and attacking the people and being like, hey, y'all don't know what you're talking about, this is a great guy. Anybody who did anything like that, he tagged them in the video that he posted earlier today, and I was like, that's pretty noble. Because I got a small shout out, and that was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting anything in return, just for letting him know that that stuff was going on. And so I was like, mad respect. I really respect that. So that inspired me to make this video. It's just, I don't understand what people get out of accusing people of scamming other people. Like, I get it, there are scam artists out there, but if that person has scammed you, or somebody you know, and they told you about it, there's no reason to spread rumors that they scam people, because that can damage somebody's reputation. Even if it is a lie, if you get the word out there enough, then people will believe it. Like the lady who sued McDonald's over the hot coffee thing. People think she was just a weak little person and she was just complaining just to complain. No, they actually had their coffee temperature settings way too high, and she suffered I don't know the different degrees of burns, but I know it was at least 3rd-degree burns. She had to go to the hospital, and if I'm not mistaken, McDonald's was trying to refuse to pay her her medical expenses, and so she had to sue them in order to get them paid. And that was how that story went, or it's something like that. It wasn't just, oh my god, my coffee's hot, I'm gonna sue McDonald's. No, it wasn't like that at all. She went to the hospital, and so since that story got so blown out of proportion and everybody got on McDonald's side, even though it was a lie, that is what happens when you say someone's a scam and you have no idea what you're talking about, and it ruins that person's reputation. So she's getting death letters, death threats, people like, what's the word, ostracizing her, or like, you know, just all that type of stuff. And it's not fair, because it wasn't her fault. She had to do what she had to do to get her to get herself paid, and I'm pretty sure she would have tried to do it as quietly as possible, but you know, people from McDonald's called the press and all that type of stuff. But anyway, I say all that to get to situations that I've been in. Just recently, I'll include the screenshots right here, but there's a situation. I'm actually in the midst of trying to sell this property. It's really cheap, and so what I do to sell my cheaper properties is I advertise the land if the price I'm trying to sell it for is close to or equivalent to the land amount. So this one is about $1,500, a little more than the land, but they, you know, whatever. What I use in my title is buy the land, get a house free, because that's basically what you're getting if you're paying super cheap for the property. And so that's just what I use to advertise. So people commenting, people messaging me, you know, I'm sending them the information that they need. So people are going by the property. Nothing sketchy from my end, okay? So then someone decides to comment, scam. And I'm like, I mean, no, it's not. Don't comment on things you don't understand. So then he just starts going off like, I'll include the screenshots right here. And so he's going off and everything, and I'm just laughing because I know I'm not doing anything wrong. He tried to call the admin on me, and I'm like, I mean, you can look at our profiles. You can see my real estate business in my cover photo. In my other photos, I have a link to my page. I mean, it's just, there's no scam going on here. And it's just annoying when people do that. But anyway, let me turn this off because this look ratchet and I don't want to listen to it. I hope that you guys cannot hear the music, because if the music is heard and I get demonetized, I will be so upset. I'll just... yeah. Okay. I'll just leave the music off right now. But anyway. What was I saying? Oh yeah. And so I'm glad that didn't get blown out of proportion or anything, because, you know, like I said, like, somebody just making a speculation can ruin somebody's entire reputation for no reason. Like, I have the contract to this house, and I'm trying to sell my equitable interest in this house. There's no reason for you to be saying scam when you didn't even inquire about the house. He didn't ask me for information about the house. He didn't, go buy the property to look at it or anything. He just comments scam, and I'm like, dude. And so that's not a huge deal to me. It happens. People do that. And he had no real power anyway. It's not like he was a big, you know, influencer or anything like that. Versus Jimmy, who he had actual like real estate gurus and everything going after him, and I was like, ooh, okay, all right, that's kind of tough. So yeah, it wasn't that bad. But it was another situation that happened to me where someone was trying to scam me. They were saying that they had, you know, title to the property and everything, and they wanted me to give them cash for the property, not put the cash into escrow. They wanted me to give them cash that day. That, like, he wanted me to give him money as soon as we signed the contract. And I was like, no. I mean, I could buy it right now. He wanted to sell it for $1,500. I was like, I could buy the house for $1,500 right now, but I'm not gonna. I haven't gotten a title search from my title guy yet, and he wanted me to get the title information from his attorney that has already been done, and he said it was like a month old, and I'm like, I just want a fresh title search, and I want to make sure, I want to hear from my person that everything's legit, because I don't know your guy. He could be on the same stuff you're on, and y'all could go share that $1,500. I don't know. So I'm going to get my attorney and have him look at it, and then I will give you $1,500. And that money won't come from me. It will come from my title person, and he will cut you a check for it. So, no, I'm not going to give you the money. So then he crumpled up the contract, and then he left. I was like, okay, like, shoot, like, if you get mad over me saying, no, I'm not going to give you the money right now, I'm going to give it to my attorney, obviously something's going on with that situation. So that was where I was almost scammed into buying a house. Yeah. It's not much to it, because, I mean, you're not going to trick me. Like, I don't, sometimes I do get, you know, kind of iffy, like, if people look at me and they're like, oh, let me take advantage of her. But there's some people who will, like, try to manipulate me, like, over the phone. Maybe it's because I'm a woman. Maybe it's because I sound like I'm young or whatever. And it's like, I'm going to take advantage of this situation because she's a woman or she's a young woman or whatever, and think I'm stupid. It's like, no, I'm in the industry. I'm kind of educated. I think I'm, you know, kind of okay educated enough to not give somebody cash for a house. No, I'm not. No. And so that was that situation. Another one that happened today. Today's basically the end. Me and my partner are pretty much giving up on this property because it's just too much going on with it. But anyway, the beginning of the situation was my partner's VA had, you know, done cold calling, and they called absentee owners. So they called this particular person about a property, and he accepted my offer on the property, and I sent him a contract, and he did not sign the contract. He decided that he wanted to sell a different piece of property, and we were like, okay, we'll look at it. So we looked at it, and I got my offer together, I sent it to him, he accepted it. So then we sent him another contract. And then he decides that he doesn't want to use his our contract. He wants to use his contract because he's a broker. Mind you, the first property was in his actual name. His personal name was on there. This next property was like a group's name, and he happened to be part of the group. And so now he wants to use his broker's, you know, rights, not rights, but his tools, broker's tools, in order to get a commission off the property. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not bashing him for that. If he wants to do that, I mean, he can do him. That's fine. But he didn't say that in the beginning. So that just happened afterward, and after we sent the contract. Like I said, I'm going to send you my contract. We sent him the contract. Then he decided that he did not want to use our contract afterward. And so that's what I had an issue with in the beginning. And so then he decides he wants to use his. We're like, okay, we're going to use your contract. We look and we read it over. We're trying to make sure that it is an assignable contract. Because, you know, you don't want to get caught up in, if you're wholesaling, if you know you're wholesaling, you don't want to get caught up in getting trapped into a contract that you can't get yourself out of, especially if you don't have transactional funding. But regardless, it was okay because we were in touch with somebody who would help us get transactional funding once we found a buyer and all that type of stuff, so we could double close on it. So regardless, it wouldn't be a problem, but we did research it just in case, just to make sure we're not stuck. And so it turned out to be okay. Talked to my attorney about it. He said, just make sure you read carefully. He looked it over for me. He said, it's a legit contract. You're not stuck in it. And yeah, my partner, we actually had a 3-way conversation with her mentor. He let us know his opinion on it. He said, you know, just be careful. We're like, okay. So we're getting all just making sure that we're fine. On top of that, he wanted $3,000 earnest money, which my partner did have, and she was willing to put it up like that day, because from the calculations that I did, and that was my mistake, the calculations I did, it seemed like it was going to be a really good deal. It's like we thought that there was $50,000 on the table, and we soon learned that there was not, but since we thought that there was, she was ready to put it up. We just wanted to secure a buyer first. And so I started messaging a few people who I know who would probably be interested in it. And I'm getting turned down. And I was like, okay, this property probably isn't what I thought it was. So I did some more research, asked a few more people around. And the value of the property was actually based off of the fact that there was a gas station on it previously. And the building was still there, but the gas station was no longer running. It's desolate. And the calculations haven't been updated. So it is land with a shack on it now. But the value of it is saying that it is a gas station, a fully functioning gas station. And that's why it was valued so high. And so once I understood that, I was like, oh, we really got to lower our offer because it's not worth what he's asking now. And so I got him to lower it. And also during that time, you know, we didn't sign the contract at first because of the timing thing, and then he sent another contract, and then he sent another form with that contract. He didn't send it at first. He sent another form after the second time he sent the contract because it was time sensitive. He sent another one with an updated date on it with another form. And the form was just saying that the parties are acting as the parties. There was no reason for the form at all. So I don't know what that was for. I don't know why he wanted my signature for it. So that was another red flag. Also, he wanted the earnest money to go to his brokerage instead of the title company. And he really did not want to use my title company. And so it's just all these red flags. But since we're thinking $50,000 is on the line, we're like, you know, maybe it's worth it, you know, just tread lightly and all that. And so we're trying to work with him as best as possible. Even though I talked to my attorney, if we double close, well, of course we're going to use my attorney, but if we're going to assign, we're going to try to use their title company. But it was just, you know, he didn't want the earnest money to go to the title company. He wanted to go to his brokerage. He was very iffy about using my title guy, and it was just like, you know, there's just so much going on right now. And so when all those red flags popped up, we became even more skeptical about the situation. So we're just treading extremely lightly. He's calling me early in the morning, texting me, asking for updates to see where we're at. And I'm like, man, like, you seem like a motivated seller, but you're being weird. Like, all these pop-up things keep happening, but you're trying to sell. And so, fast forward to last week, I let him know that I offered too high. That was my mistake. It was valued as a gas station, as a fully functioning gas station, but since the land is it's not anymore, it's just 2 acres of land, then we're gonna have to lower our offer. And I lowered it by, I think, $70,000. It was either, yeah, around $65,000. I lowered it. And so, of course, that's a lot. But I mean, there's nothing I could do. My buyers weren't going for the high price. So I did the best I could to get it as low as possible. And so he accepted it. And so he sent another contract. But when we were talking on the phone, he asked, since it was so low, could we cover 2% of his commission? And I did not say yes. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was somewhere along the lines of, I don't think we'll be able to do that. Basically, no. I didn't ever say yes, or I'll think about it, or sure. I didn't say anything like that. It was basically no. And so he was like, okay, fine. Basically like, okay, I was just asking because, you know, their commission payment might cut into like whatever profit they're going to make. And I was like, I understand, but I don't think we're going to be able to do it. So then he sends me the new contract and I read it. And in special stipulations area, he put buyer will pay 3% commission. And I was like, first of all, I said no. Second of all, you said 2%. And so not only did you try to squeeze that in there without telling me, but you also added 1 more percent there. And the whole reason I said no to paying the commission was because it would mess up the numbers. Like, why else would I say no? First of all, the seller was covering them in the first place. So, like, my offer should just be my offer. That's the money I'm going to pay. Or that my buyer's going to pay, but that's, you know, whatever. So, then, what happened after that? I call him. Of course, I consult my partner, and I let her know what happened. And she's just like, dude, what? And I'm like, yeah, what? I don't know. So I text her what I figured would be the best thing to say, and she was like, yeah, that's good. And so I sent it to him. I'll just read it off right quick, just so I can know exactly what was said. Where are we at? Here we go. I said hi, then his name. I read over the contract once more, and I realized that 3% commission was added to special stipulations. I do recall you mentioning partial commission payment, but I never agreed officially. Plus, you only mentioned 2% in our conversation. According to the numbers, that would affect our calculations and projections. So if we do assist in paying a commission, the offer would have to be, and then I lowered the offer again. So then he calls me and lets me know, like, you know, like, the offer is really low. That's why I was adding the commission in there. And I'm like, I understand that their numbers would be affected, but I'm letting you know that you should have called or texted me again, or put it in the email or something, that you were going to go ahead and change it, or ask me again to change it, to put the commission in there. Because what you're doing, I can't even say it's illegal, because if I would have signed the contract, there's nothing I could do at that point. He tried to sneak it in the contract without telling me. There was no memo. The only thing we agreed to was the price change. And so to put the change in commission in there was just completely dishonest. And so that's the point I was trying to get him to understand, because if there wasn't so much shady stuff going on, I probably would have agreed to go ahead and pay the commission, because that would have come out of our assignment or our double close profit. And that would have been fine. We would have been okay with paying it. But it's just so much stuff going on. We're just like, no, like, we're already having to put up $3,000 earnest money when we do re-sign. So, I mean, dude, no. So, he wasn't even trying to hear that. All he was saying was like, well, I put that in there so they wouldn't have such a burden on them with paying the commission and blah blah blah. They're probably gonna say no if you guys don't pay the commission and things like that. And I'm like, first of all, I understand that you're worried about their money, but you also have to understand that what you did was dishonest, and I don't like that. Okay? You said 2% over the phone. I did not agree. And then I get the contract back and it says 3%. You weren't expecting me to read the contract. You expected me to just sign it and send it back to you. And then I get caught up later. And we're not doing that. I don't care. He's never met me in person. So he doesn't. That's why I was saying, like, earlier, people might think they can get away with doing stuff. The guy who tried to scam me to buy that other house, he saw me in person and we were talking and interacting in person, so it was kind of scary. When he crumpled up the contract because he got mad and stuff, I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, he's never met me in person. And so it's like, what is it that makes you think you can get over on me? Like, you don't know that I'm a girl. I mean, you know that I'm a girl, of course, by my voice. You don't know that I'm young. You don't know that I'm an African American woman. You don't know that I have, how long have I been in real estate? I think 1.5 years experience. You don't know my experience level. You don't know any of this stuff. So what makes you think I'm not going to read the contract? You know? So, then he tried to get off topic and was like, you know, I was just trying to get something in writing, and right now we're just going back and forth, and we're just talking at this point. We don't have anything in writing. And I'm like, you have to agree verbally first before you put it in writing. I'm not just going to sign something and not read it. Like, I get it. You want something in writing, but we have to agree to what is in the writing. That was so irritating. Like, that was so irritating. My husband heard me on the phone this morning, and he was like, I don't even know why you entertained that guy for so long. We were on the phone for that phone call lasted for approximately almost 10 minutes. It was 9 minutes and 7 seconds. And he was like, I don't know how you were on the phone for that long. I would have just been like, look, we're going by my terms, take it or leave it. And I was just like, babe, I understand, but like, I was really, we've been dealing with this property for like 1.5 months, and I just didn't want it to go to waste because I already have people interested in it, and I just wanted to pull through. So that was the only reason I was trying to deal with it, but we're just gonna let it go at this point. Anyway, yeah, it just really made me mad, but I was cool afterward. It was fine, because I mean, it's just a piece of property. There's plenty more. There's plenty more with plenty other different sellers. And also somebody else let me know that they had seen the property before. And that was one of the people I was trying to sell it to. He saw it on the market before. He was going to JV it with his buyer. And, you know, his buyer didn't want to pay the price that I had it at first. So that was the whole reason I got it lowered. Because I had somebody actually interested in it. So, yeah. So if they sell it, they sell it. If they don't, it has nothing to do with me. Yeah, that's that. This is a bit of a longer video. It's like nearly 30 minutes or whatever it's gonna be when I edit it. There's not much to edit because I'm talking most of the time. But yeah, I just wanted to share those few stories with you guys. It's just, you want to be as honest as possible for yourself, just to not get caught up in this, because some people can be really shady and it sucks. And so just lighten everybody else's load by not being shady. Just, you be a good person, I'll be a good person, and then we can weed out all the ugly people. And I'm getting a phone call. It's my husband. Alright, that's time for me to go. Bye, you guys.